Today, present story about research laboratory. Their students were afraid from haunted environment after sunset. Among the students, tales of strange occurrences in the hostel were as old as the institution itself. Whispers of ghostly figures walking the halls at night, the sound of ethereal laughter echoing through the empty rooms, and cold gusts of wind that seemed to come from nowhere had become part of the hostel's lore. Yet, no one dared to venture into the deepest recesses of the building after dark. One night, Emma, a brave and curious student known for her skepticism, decided to investigate the hostel's haunting legends. Armed with a flashlight and a notebook, she set out to uncover the truth. The hostel was eerily silent as she began her journey down the dimly lit corridors. As she entered deeper into the building, the temperature seemed to drop noticeably. Her breath formed misty clouds in the chilled air. Emma's footsteps echoed through the deserted hallway as she reached the door to room 237, the epicenter of the paranormal activity. With trembling hands, she pushed the door open, revealing a room frozen in time. Dusty textbooks were scattered on the floor, and faded posters of long-forgotten pop stars adorned the walls. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched by someone. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and the room was plunged into darkness. Emma's flashlight flickered, then died. Panic set in as she fumbled for her phone, trying to use its feeble light to guide her way out. That's when she heard it, a faint, ghostly whisper that seemed to come from all around her. "Leave. Leave now." Emma's heart raced as she tried to pinpoint the source of the voice, but it was as if the room themselves were speaking. The room felt alive with unseen presences, and fear gripped her like a vice. Emily's heart pounded as she listened to the shadow's revelation. The tale seemed surreal, a mix of horror and tragedy that gripped her with both fear and empathy. She hesitated for a moment, considering the implications of the strange story. Could she really trust the shadow's words, or was this another layer of the nightmare? Summoning courage, Emily asked, "How can I help you break free from this curse? What should I do?" The shadow's voice, now less menacing, replied, "You must recreate the experiment, following the steps outlined by the professor. Only then can the curse be lifted, and I can find peace." With trepidation, Emily retraced the steps described by the shadow. She entered the lab, heart pounding, and searched for the remnants of the professor's equipment. The air was thick with the unsettling memory of the previous night. With trepidation, Emily retraced the steps described by the shadow. She entered the lab, heart pounding, and searched for the remnants of the professor's equipment. The air was thick with the unsettling memory of the previous night. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and the shadow seemed to writhe in the air. Emily could hear a distant whisper growing louder and more frantic. The air crackled with energy, and then, just as quickly as it had started, it stopped. The shadow, now less defined, spoke again, "Thank you. I can feel the curse lifting. I can move on." The shadow began to dissipate, like smoke fading into the air. As the last remnants of the shadow vanished, Emily felt a strange sense of relief and closure. The lab, once filled with whispers and shadows, now stood silent and empty. She wondered about the choices made by the student and the professor, choices that had bound one to a cursed existence and the other to an untimely death. Emily left the lab, the weight of the experience lingering in her mind. The corridors were no longer haunted, and the air felt lighter. The mysterious tale of the cursed experiment had come to an end, leaving Emily to ponder the thin line between scientific ambition and the consequences of tampering with the unknown.